Parents of Reddit, what is your best why is my kid so stupid moment? Me waking into the bathroom to check on my 4-year-old son having a bath. Why are you smashing your penis with that toy hammer? My 12-year-old daughter blamed a squirrel when we asked how the borax for her slime projects moved from the garage to the kitchen counter. It's so fulfilling to go from "I'm pretty sure you're lying" to 100% "I know you're lying." My older brother carved my name into the side of my mum's car with a rock for whatever reason and tried to blame it on me. I was like 4 years old and couldn't write yet. I'm amazed at how many times I've had to say "don't lick that." My daughter insists wearing a jacket will make her cold because she only wears it when she is cold. My son, who was 8 at the time and an only child, carved his very long name into the toilet seat, then claimed he didn't do it. LOL. My toddler watched at least an hour of an animated movie populated entirely by talking animals. Suddenly, a giraffe came on screen and said something. My kid stood up, pointed at the TV, and angrily yelled, "What? Giraffes can't talk?" Hey mommy, wanna see a trick? Sure honey, show me a trick. Kid runs around in circles to build up momentum. Very deliberately crashes headfirst into the wall, then falls down and starts crying. Good trick, sweetie. When my brother was around 6, he decided he wanted to play Tarzan with a cord hanging in his room. However, the cord kept slipping from his hand, so he decided to swing with it around his neck instead. My poor grandmother walked into the room to find her grandchild apparently trying to hang himself. Our daughter, when asked what she wanted to be when she grows up, answered, "I want to be a strawberry, but if that's too hard, I want to be purple. The color purple, the fruit strawberry." She was 5. My son has microwaved ramen noodles with no water a few times. Just so you know, they are flammable and smoke horribly and turn your microwave an awful yellow color. When I was a kid, my little brother woke up and thought he saw Frankenstein walking down our hallway in the middle of the night. He took off running in his underwear, out the door, down the block. Several blocks really. A couple picked him up maybe 4 blocks away and brought him home. He was on his way to my grandmother's trailer a good half-mile away. Kicker was, the Frankenstein he saw was my grandmother, who was staying with us that night. Took a while to live that one down. My son. At age 10, I was trying to figure out why my shower was draining so slowly and wound up pulling the drain strainer out. Inside I found a bunch of brown paper goop. It took me a while to figure out what it was. I went to my son and asked him, "Did you tear up a toilet paper tube into little pieces and cram those pieces down the drain in the shower?" "Yes." "Okay. How about not?" "Sure." When a sudden rainstorm hit our campsite, my 11-year-old rescued a full water bucket from the rain and put it under the canopy to keep it dry. When I caught him peeing in the doorway of his room at the age of 5, his reason: "'Cause I don't want the kitty coming into my room." I was that kid. My parents took my siblings and I to a greenhouse garden. Everyone was on their best behavior until I got the sudden urge to lick some foamy stuff off of a window. I was always a good kid, never caused any trouble, but for whatever reason I had this compulsion to lick this foamy stuff off the window. Poison control had to be called. My parents were frantic. It was an ordeal. I was anaphylactic to milk at the time too, and I was definitely old enough to know better. One time my mom asked me what color my eyes were, so I started looking around trying to see them. My kids actually seem okay, but here's something I did. Young, about 9, and walking through Paddy's Market in Sydney, about 1971. Dad says I can have 10 a decent amount at the time to buy anything I want in the market for my birthday. So we are walking around, and I spot a giant crab. This thing is about a foot across. I decided that is what I want for my birthday. I want the crab. Son, We have nowhere to keep it. We can keep it in the bathtub. What if we want a bath? We can take showers instead. I did not get my crab and cried about it and refused to pick anything else too. When my sister was 18, she was planning a trip to California after HS graduation. She spent several days calling banks to get the exchange rate for money because somehow she was absolutely convinced that regular US currency in Pennsylvania was not usable in California. She thought the banks were all lying to her that it was the same money. I'm surprised she even found California. If I can be the kid who made my parents ask this question, I walked into a wall when I was 5 because I was walking around looking through binoculars backwards. Got these 2 massive ring bruises around my eyes. When the axe challenge was a thing, apparently, you spray axe over the front of your shirt, light it on fire, then take the shirt off. I think that's it. Anyway, this genius gets his arm stuck or something as he pulled the shirt off inside out, so of course, the fire is now burning his face. He gets it off with the help of his friends and gets taken to the hospital with 2nd-degree burns by his friend's mother because he was staying over. That was a fun phone call to get at 3 AM. Dad, I'm okay, but I had an accident and Karen has taken me to the hospital to get treated. I told her it wasn't a big deal, but she made me call. On Mother's Day, when I was only small, my dad told me for Mother's Day we would give my mum a lion because she had had a stressful week between jobs. Of course, tiny me had no concept of what a lion was and assumed my dad said a lion. Me, are we actually getting mom a lion? Dad, yes. Your mum really deserved a lion, so we'll give her one this morning. I then proceed to sprint excitedly to my parents' room, climb onto the bed, jump up and down over my poor sleeping mother screaming, wake up, we are getting you a lion. Wake up right now. My mother did not get a lion, or a lion for that matter. When I heard my wife say to my then 3-year-old son, name, please stop sniffing all the cars. We were walking through a parking lot. I was at my sister's for Thanksgiving and my niece, who is 5, went to feed the dog. She was out of eyesight for maybe 2 minutes when my sister yells, stop eating the dog food. And you can hear my niece drop the bowl out of fright because she got caught. My sister never got off the couch and I laughed about it for like 10 million straight. My mother always brings up when she asked my brother to turn on the kettle and he answered, shall I make it hot or cold? And I thought I was stupid. This is about me, and I'm sure my mom almost killed me for this. In 5th grade, I decided it would be a wonderful idea to lock my backpack to my desk with a bike lock I brought to school for some reason and swallow the key for it. I went to the emergency room and the lock stayed there the whole year. My nieces. I don't have kids. Me and the older niece 7 are playing Minecraft, while the younger niece 5 watches. We build a small little town, and I build the younger niece a little house in the town for her to play in. Then give her the controller. We are all sitting on my couch. The younger niece immediately places TNT all over the town and sets one off. Me and the older niece sit there and watch as the whole town explodes. This makes older niece sad and bummed out to where she almost cries. But didn't. I told younger niece that she is in trouble and she made her sister sad and to go to her room for like 5 minutes. I don't know, I'm just the uncle, lol. After like 5 minutes of hearing me and older niece laughing and playing Minecraft together, she comes out of her room and asks if she can come back in and watch play. I told her, you can play, but only after you apologize to your sister. Younger niece runs out of the room screaming, crying, not sure why. Again, I'm just the uncle. Another 5 minutes go by. Younger niece comes back into the room after hearing us still laughing and playing and again asks if she can watch play, to which I respond the same thing. Apologize to your sister and the controller is yours. She looks at me dead in the face. I can't apologize. I can only speak Spanish. I said, what? I can't apologize. I can only speak Spanish. Well then apologize in Spanish. I'm sorry. Okay, here's the controller. As a kid I would always try to touch hot things like the stove or the clothes iron even after my mom warned me. She eventually figured duck it. She can touch it, burn herself and learn her lesson. Well, I did not learn the first time, or the second time, or the third time. Honestly, my mother lost count on how many times I actually burned myself. She started guarding me again, since I was clearly too dumb to learn from my mistakes, so I got smarter about how to get around her. I couldn't make the connection of careful it's hot it will hurt like heck don't touch it, but I could make the connection of do it quickly pretend like you listened you'll be able to touch it. I also had a cousin who had an interesting reaction to punishment. Let's say he wasn't allowed to play a video game. He would then try to get rid of all his toys, demand to only be served food that he hated, and sit on the floor facing a wall. When asked what he was doing he would answer, "Since you seem to like taking away things that make me happy, I've decided to be miserable forever." Happy now? My guess is he wanted the grown-ups to feel bad for him, but the whole thing was hilarious. So dramatic. When I was 11 we were at a park that had one of those swirly slides that is kind of like a tunnel. Well, I wanted to act like a mountain climber and tie a rope around myself and jump down the slide to climb back up. What was the best spot to tie the rope? I asked myself. The neck. Good location to easily grab the rope and pull myself back up. Plus convenient tying spot. My parents ran to me yelling and stopped me mid-knot, tying a rope around my neck to jump down a slide. In retrospect, I'm a dumbass. My youngest, around the age of 3, lost having curtains in his room after the second time he bent the hook that the curtain rod hangs onto because he tried swinging on his curtains. It turns out that the tiny piece of metal that's designed to hold the weight of a curtain rod is not designed to support a child. Several years later we'd moved to a new house and decided he was certainly old enough to stop swinging on curtains. We made sure to sit down with him to explain that when he was little, he would swing on them and that it broke the curtain rods. Now that he was around 6 or 7, he was old enough to remember not to climb the curtains. He lost the curtains the next day after he tried swinging on them. Perhaps he thought we were lying to him. Okay, but that could happen to anyone. And 6 or 7. That's still pretty young. When he was 10, he grabbed the wooden towel bar in the bathroom and fell backwards and then kept falling because the small wooden rod was only attached to the rest of the towel bar via a small piece of wood that was glued to the main structure and, once again, was meant to support the weight of a wet towel or two. Not a 10-year-old child. Damn near gave himself a concussion on the side of the bathtub that time. Not my kid, but my niece loves crawling around on the floor trying to lick doorstops. When she's not doing that, she actively searches for dust lint on the floor and tries to devour it before you take it from her. Walked into the bathroom to see my 3-year-old girl with a toilet bowl brush in her mouth. So that was disgusting. When my daughter was around 5 years old, I told her to start putting her toys away. She told me she couldn't because she didn't have any hands, while showing me her hands. Lose debit card. Go through painful renewal process. Finally arrives in the mail. Kid asks, "Can I see it?" He takes it and bends it in half. Not me, but my younger brother loved eating ants. He just grabbed a bunch of them and put them in his mouth and started chewing. I guess they bit him, but he didn't care. My little sister said she wanted to become a toilet when she grew up. I remind her of it quite often. I got sand on my Gamma Boy Advance, so I promptly washed it off in the ocean. My son came home one afternoon from school with one shoe. Me, "What happened to your other shoe?" "Son, I lost it." "M, what? What do you mean you lost it?" "S, I lost it. I don't know where it is." "M, so? When did you lose your shoe?" "S, at lunch." "M, so you've been walking around all afternoon with only one shoe?" "S, yup." M begins to understand why hamsters eat their young. Probably a tie between when he announced he was going to play Plastic Ghost and pulled a plastic bag over his head, or when he refuses to drink water or blow his nose when he has a cold. When told both of those things help him breathe, his response is always, "No breathing." I hate breathing, which plastic ghost would seem to substantiate. My daughter was trying to look over the fence in our yard, so she climbed on top of an aquarium, falling through and requiring stitches in her legs and feet. Immediately adjacent to the aquarium was a stepladder. Our kids were probably 10 and 6. We are at a restaurant and they both order hot chocolate. Our drinks come. Both my wife and I are putting our straws in our own drinks and not paying attention. Both of the children simultaneously stick straws into the steaming hot chocolate and take huge drinks and start freaking out. My son was 15 at the time and decided he wanted to make pancakes. So, he also decided to use the plastic food cover for the microwave as a mixing bowl. Now if you haven't used one of these, it's full of holes on the top to let steam out and protect your microwave interior from splatters. Well, I come downstairs and he's mad as heck. There is pancake batter all over the countertop and he's huffing and puffing. This is the worst mixing bowl I've ever seen. Who puts holes in the bottom of a mixing bowl? I looked at him, the situation, and said, "Clean this up please," and walked out. I was really worried that he was developing dementia or something. My daughter tested as gifted, then got into the bathtub with her socks on that night. My 2 kids asked me for bananas for their school lunches. So Monday I bought 4 bananas. On Friday all the banana were still there. So I asked why they didn't eat them. They both swore that they ate a banana every day. It must have been the other kid who didn't eat their banana. As if I can't count to 4. They are 12 and 13. This happened 2 weeks ago. I was the stupid kid. I was at my cousin's above ground pool when I was around 5 and there was a bumblebee sitting on the deck. My mom saw it and said go around it. I proceeded to step on it and get stung. I think my little brain said jump over it, and instead I jumped on it. A bee lost its life that day. Until I was 12. I thought the first month of the year was September, because that's when school started. Not my kid, but myself. I shoved a peanut butter and jelly sandwich into a VCR slot when I was like 9. Then I tried to reach inside to fish it out. I was stuck with my hand in the slot up to my wrist until my mom got home from work a couple hours later. I don't know why I did it, but we no longer had a VCR player after that. One time when I was half asleep as a kid I got out of bed to go to the toilet, but instead of turning left into the bathroom I turned right and pissed down the stairs. Once when my nephew was around 3 years old we were eating breakfast when he asked if he could go play. I told him to eat 2 more bites of bacon and he could get down. He said he couldn't because then his muscles would get too big and be too heavy. Good answer kid. When my sister was 15 she was playing baseball and ended up getting hurt. She goes to the hospital where the doctor tells her she broke her clavicle. My sister's response was, "So I can never have children when I'm old. LOL. Not the brightest bulb." Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.